not live, but we're recording.
Okay.
So we're here with Val. How are you, Val?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do you want to just introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are?
Yeah. So my name is Valerie Baudier. I'm an alumni from SLC. So I've taken two programs there. I started off by doing the BBA program, so Bachelor of Business Administration. And then I did a postgrad in interactive marketing communications.
IMC.
Yeah, the marketing kids here. And then after that, as soon as my co-op finished, I started working in Ottawa. So I work at the University of Ottawa now as an event coordinator.
Amazing.
What kind of events do you coordinate?
So I work specifically in the president's office. So we do.
Do you get your Secret Service?
Don't have Secret Service, unfortunately.
No.
Not for him.
Secret.
But we do a lot of like conferences. We plan convocation. We do. It's really like every year there's just different stuff that takes place because it's kind of like whatever comes up. If it involves the president or the chancellor, we end up kind of planning it, and it usually gets thrown at us. So it really varies, but we do a lot of like town halls, coffee with the president, just things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So some smaller events and some big events. A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Some debates, whatever's like interesting in the world going on. Sometimes we'll do debates on that. So it kind of varies. You never really know what your year is going to look like because there's a few that happen like every year, but then there's always like those ones that kind of get thrown at you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, how did you make the switch, like going from Kingston to then working at Ottawa U?
Yeah. Oh my God. It was not easy. Because, well, all of it was hard, to be honest, because I feel like I was at SLC for 5 years. So I know the ins and outs of that school, and everything, came so kind of naturally for me. And I feel like it's a very much different environment here at SLC than it is in a big university, and I felt it was a hard switch for me because I kind of felt like at SLC, because I knew so many people, it's like you almost feel kind of like you're famous sometimes because you can like walk down the hall, you can like know so many people, and you can just like chat with people all the time because it's so much smaller, right? And like with like professors, like I can go to their office and be like, hey, like how's it going? Like sit down and have a conversation. And same with like I have like several different bosses within SLC, like different departments that I've worked for. So it's having that close knit like community type, and then going to like a large scale university where I didn't know anybody. Like I'm like basically I arrived there, I'm like I'm a nobody. So it was a hard shift in that sense, but also the fact that like there's so many different rules that apply in a university that don't necessarily apply in a college. So for example, like when I worked at SLC, I felt like I always wore multiple hats. So like, maybe I wasn't really good at finance, but if I need to like figure like my budget or something, I'm going to put that hat on and do that. Or like I like did events or like marketing, like you always had different hats, and you would kind of like, if you had a project, you do all the pieces of it. But then when you're at Ottawa U, there's a department that will handle your emails. There's a department that's going to do your graphic design. There's a department that's like going to book rooms. Like, you're basically just working on one small piece, like really just the planning, but you have all these different departments that you need to reach out to in a timely manner to like really like pull it out, And that to me was a hard shift because I wasn't used to that. Like I remember my first event, I had to help create menus, but I was just coming up with an idea. I did not have the permission to like go and create it myself, even though I've learned those skills. It's like, no, that's not your job. We have a full department that does the menu. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm used to doing all those things myself. So it was hard to get used to that for sure.
So like a menu of what people are going to eat?
Yeah, like it was an event that had multiple parts in the day, and in the evening, everyone was going for dinner, and we were customizing a menu because it was like already preset, but we wanted to design it with the theme of the day, and I wanted to do that design, but it's not my role, and I didn't realize that, that it was a different department that handles that.
So is it possible for you to like, I know you said that there's different departments that do different things, but could you be like, oh, well, hey, it's like, I know how to do this. Can I jump in on with you, and help you
Um,
collaborate maybe?
not like, I mean, I think if it was in a timely, like I needed it done like the day of or 2 days ahead of time, and the department that would usually take care of that is too busy, like they can't take on this last minute project, then yeah, potentially I could do it myself, but it always has to go through them first, kind of thing.
I mean,
So,
that kind of makes sense. Just like even just working in the student association, like we all can take part in the different things because we're closer knit, I think, than like a big school like Ottawa U. But even us, like if we want something graphic, like it goes to a graphic designer. If we want like something that has to do with the front desk, like that goes through Chris, like in operations. So that it does make sense just so you're not like stepping on anyone's toes in a sense.
Yeah,
Like,
makes sense.
like everyone is there because they have a job to do. If one person could do everything, then they would only have one person, right?
yeah, exactly.
So how challenging is it to plan events now that events can't happen?
That's a good question. So very challenging because, it hit the whole COVID-19 hit us at a pretty timing. Like we were just starting to plan Convocation, which is the largest event of the year.
Canceled.
I tried planning that for like the entire university. It's an event that deals like almost 6 days. Like it's very long and there's so many different pieces of it, and now canceled. And it was also, we were doing a lot of town halls at the time, so they were quite, over 100 group gatherings. So all of those were canceled. And so now, working in events, you want to work from home, but it's like you don't have any events that are happening anymore in person. So we're basically analyzing what we can shift to virtual. So me and my like team members, we've been looking at our events that we had planned coming up and seeing if there's a way to just have it, be created online. And if not, we're trying to figure out if we're going to like postpone it or just cancel it entirely. But, we've really taken this time to kind of do the things that we don't usually have time to do. So there's so many projects that we've kind of like pushed aside that were more internal for us to help us be better organized when it comes to events, because we all kind of get our own events and we all have our own ways of how we plan things and how we organize our folders. But, when it gets really busy and everyone's kind of working on different things, a lot of things get lost, or like some invoices don't get paid, like just little things that are missed. So we're taking this time to kind of create a system that's super organized that will help us once we get out of this and have more events coming. So like we're creating a guide, we're going over all our processes to make sure that how we organize things with different departments is all set in stone, so we understand sort of the process. Because sometimes like, I'm still new, so if I have an event that comes up and I've never done it before, I don't know if I need to submit that information a month before the event goes live to my communications team, or do I have to do it 2 weeks or 1 week? Like all those things were kind of unwritten, and I would just ask my team members. But when they're really busy, it's kind of like, listen, figure it out, So we're taking this time to be able to like do those things that will help us be a little bit more organized. And like I've been like cleaning up my emails like I hadn't done since I started working. So I had like, when you open your emails, there's like 300 old emails that you haven't cleaned out of. So I did like a massive cleanup with that in our folders because it like really needed to be done. So it's kind of like taking a step back and working on things that way. And now starting to plan, like we're doing a virtual convocation. So we're planning that right now. There's still like different places, different people that we need to be in contact with. So we're trying to keep busy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. If like, what is like one of the, I guess maybe not biggest, but what is like one of the most challenging events that you've been able to take from physical in person to like digital?
To virtual?
Yeah.
So far, I really think it would be Convocation. That one was definitely most challenging because one, we're trying to do what all the other kind of universities are doing, because we're just like we don't want any students coming back and saying, why is Queens having no Convocation and why is Ottawa U having one? So it was a lot of communication with different schools to see what their plan was, and then now that we've decided to do it virtual, it's hard because there's so much research involved. Like we've literally been looking at different companies that we can use to try to make it as interesting and fun online. Like we're looking into like creating Instagram filters for the days, like just things that we have not done at all with the University of Ottawa in the past for convocation. We're trying to incorporate it online. And like right now, we've also decided that we're still going to have, you know, class presidents from each faculty. So I have to reach out to those departments. You know, they still need to be looking for who's going to be the class president. And then now they're going to be doing their speech, but in video format. So now it's like, we're all kind of new to this sort of world, and we're all trying to like figure it out together in a timely manner. So that definitely has been sort of the challenging part. And still, another small thing too is like, because it happened so suddenly, a lot of us didn't have time to kind of transfer like our calls, like our work phone to our personal. So, you know, people who I know their extensions by heart because I'm always contacting them, I don't necessarily know if like they've done that shift, like they were able to transfer, you know, their work phone onto their cell phone, and they, you know, their cell phones aren't available. So it's just a bit more of a hassle because you're trying to go through different people to figure out how to contact them instead of email. Like it's just like all these little things that come into play that you wouldn't think of, but it's like, oh, like it just takes a step back and you're like, okay, who can I ask? Who would have this person's phone number? Like it's just like those little things too that I found are hard to deal with for sure.
But it's crazy though, because it's like you're already new and you're already like, oh, well, hey, you know, it's like you got to figure this out. And now you have to figure this out, you know, and everyone else is kind of also figuring it out. So I don't know. I feel like it probably puts you like in a good position, right? You know, it's like, you know, as a new employee, you were able to deal with this COVID crisis.
Yeah.
You know, I think it puts you in pretty cool, right?
Yeah, thanks. I know like there's also a lot of what I've noticed is big world like conferences that usually are like once a year have shifted to virtual. So now rather than being, you know, you have to like purchase a ticket to attend in person, it's free online. So last week, I shared this one like with L2. It's called like API conference, and like basically all of the speakers who, you know, work for these massive companies, we're talking about how they've shifted their events into virtual. And it's so cool how they kind of like they basically walk you through what the in-person experience is and how they can try to replicate that as close as possible online. So it's like, how do you replicate, you know, Q&A, in-person Q&A and interactive, like, you know, when you're in an audience and you're asking questions and you're like having a discussion, okay, how do you do that online? So they're saying like, we've tried to incorporate like polls. We have an online chat that's taking place during all the sessions. We have video forum discussions, like all these little things that like you don't really necessarily think of. Like it's the way they do it was such a cool process. And I was like taking down my notes because I'm like, we need like to know what this is. Because like it's everyone's kind of going through the same thing and try to, you know, figure it out the best way.
Yeah, that conference was super useful. I shared it with Raquel from marketing. We were both kind of like on and off, like we would like switch when one person was working, one person be on the conference, like that kind of thing. And there was a lot of useful information. I think even just like researching online, because you can find a lot of events that are really similar, or even just like activities, like we're even looking into how to switch like club activities and stuff into an online format. And there's tons of information, and it's super, super interesting.
Yeah. And it breaks up your day too, because like, you know, when you're constantly just like trying to work on like projects on your laptop and stuff, it's like you don't get that same feeling of like when you're in the office and you just need like a little bit of a break and just turn to your coworkers and like have a little chat, or like walk down the hall and like go see other people, and that breaks up your day. And you have like your 1 hour lunch or whatever. But now it's like you're always in front of your computer, and it's like, hey, I'm tired of like staring at my screen and typing. Like I need to do something that's different, but still considered like work or like personal development. So that was really cool. And
so how much time are you spending on work right now that you're at home?
We're doing 7 hours a day.
Oh, wow. So you're getting a full day's worth of work.
Yeah. So we have a couple like smaller little projects on the side that we do as well. And at University of Ottawa, I also have like personal development. So as soon as January hit, I had to kind of like set myself some goals that I wanted to achieve during the year. And then even though with like COVID and everything, like I'm still trying to work towards achieving those. So on like when I'm trying to like break up my day to change things up, I'll usually work on that. Like one of the big things for me is emails. You know, I find when I was at SLC, I knew a lot of the people that I would be emailing, like professors, my coworkers, my bosses, and I had a very like chill relationship with them. You know, it was very casual. So when I'm emailing them, I could be like, you know, hey Dan, what's up? And like, cause Dan was my boss, and that's the type of relationship I had. But here, you know, everything has to be very professional, and you never know, like maybe I'm talking to a community partner or I'm talking to an alumni, or everything has to be very like formal and professional. So that skill for me wasn't super developed. So that's one of my goals, is to try to like make that better and have that approach be, you know, like something that just comes naturally. So sometimes when I'm like, okay, like I'm done working on this event, I'm going to just start working on that. And I'm practicing emails or like doing research on that type of stuff. So
That's good. Well,
it fills the days, like it definitely does. So
yeah, it sounds like you're getting a lot of personal development in, which is good. So
yeah.
just like on that note, what kind of things do you do outside of work to like positive things to get you through like these times when you're not working?
Yeah. At home. Yeah. So for me, like I've always been someone who's very, very busy, and I like to be that. I like it to be that way. So I also have another job on the side where I do marketing for Plant Choir. I did my co-op there. So
Is that the one where the plants make music?
Yes.
Who, what's the name of there was a person that was in my program, AMC, that was with part of that plant choir.
Oh, yeah, Marnie was part of that.
Garney, yeah.
Marnie,
Yeah.
Marnie, yeah. Yeah, that's where I first saw him. She was outside the school. There was like something going on, and there was these like pigs just hooked up to plants, and they were making music. I thought it was so cool.
It is. It's super niche, and I think it's hard. It's a concept that not many people have like ever seen before. So it's marketing for it isn't the easiest, because it's like how do you make people believe you, or people are very skeptical, I find, and are just kind of confused about it. But you know, I have a couple of the plant choirs here at home, and sometimes I like take them out of my forest, and it's just cool to see like the sounds that like different trees will make. And I have a few plants I can like hook them up to, and a few times I'm like trying to make videos, I like put them beside my dogs, and then they start like reacting to it, and it's just funny. Like I find like it's entertaining to kind of play with. And so I've been doing that a bit on the side. But in terms of like at home, like I'm saying, I was really busy, so I took this time to like empty out my full closet and like get rid of half my clothes, like really clean my room. And I'm also moving out at the end of the month, so I'm trying to start packing for that. And
How's that moving during COVID?
Especially in Ottawa.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to move out back on April 1st or March 28th, like that last weekend. But because of everything that was happening, I was kind of like skeptical. I also didn't know what it was like, because I'm moving into an apartment, and I find it's like a bit trickier in an apartment because people are constantly in and out and touching things, and there's a lot more germs. And I also just feel bad for the people who are like the older people that are living in there. Like I don't want to bring in any germs, so I was kind of pushing it off. But you know, my sister's lease is up at the end of the month, and same with my boyfriend, so it just kind of makes sense for all of us to try to move out at the same time, I think. And I'm just like looking for a fresh start. Like I'm paying for an apartment, I want to kind of make the most out of it. The sad thing is, like, it's right downtown, it's beside the canal, and I like
Nice.
I had bought it because I was like, the summertime is gonna be great, like I'm gonna walk to work, and I'm gonna be like all around all these like nice pubs, and there's like so many things to do downtown, and then it's like all closed, and I'm like
Yeah. It'll still be nice to get out and walk or go for like a jog or do something like in that area. I know my friend Nikki lives in that area, and it's so, I'm jealous because she posts pictures of the canal like all the time, and just like the cute things. Like the city's almost like nice when there's no one in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can go like
what is the general atmosphere of Ottawa?
Pardon?
Government buildings.
Yeah, I think like I like it because I always consider Ottawa as like a bigger version of Kingston. There's always something to do. Like I literally every time I get downtown, like I don't really have any plans in mind of what I want to do, but there's something going on. Like if I go towards like Lansdowne, there's always like some sort of like small festival that's taking place, or there's like people playing music, or there's something with like stores, they're all having like their clothes outside on Spark Street. Like there's just always something. So it's like you get downtown to just go for a walk, and then there's like tons of people, you know, everyone's happy. Like I really like the atmosphere, which is really the reasons why I got my place downtown, because currently I live like 40 minutes from downtown. So I never go there in the summer, and I always felt like I was missing out. There's like so many different like food festivals and things to try. So it'll be, if we ever get to leave the house, all those things will start happening again.
We will, when we get to leave the house.
Yeah.
One of these days, we will see the sun again.
Yeah.
Visit you in Ottawa, and we'll go eat.
Yeah. It'll be nice to have that for sure, but no, can you do?
No. It'll happen. I think that's one thing. I try not to be too optimistic where I'm like, obviously we're not going to get to go outside tomorrow. But I know it'll pass like eventually. Like it's like we're not stuck in here forever. So it's just kind of being able to like hang on to the things that I'm doing now that I'm maybe not necessarily doing before, like making all my food at home. Like I haven't been able to eat out. So literally I'm just cooking, and then like I've been working out so much because it's like, what else is there to do? So like trying to hang on to those things once this all goes away.
Yeah, same here. I'm someone who needs to be really busy, because as soon as and this is why like during my whole like regular life, like I like to stay busy, because as soon as I, you know, be quiet and I'm like just like chilling or watching Netflix, I just like start getting in my head, and then it like makes me sad that I'm like can't be like social, I can't be like going out or things like that. So it's like I get so in my head that I'm like, no, I need to like think of a project, like I need to like, I've started reading books that I've had like in my freaking bookshelf forever that I've never like taken the time to read. So I'm just like up with projects. I'm always on Pinterest looking at things that I could be doing, hanging out with the fam, because there's 5 of us here. So
so at least you have someone to talk to, you know, someone to hang out with. Is there something that you guys are doing in the house to just kind of like keep yourselves busy, or like maybe bond or do some things like that?
Yeah, so me, my sister, and my boyfriend, we're all here with my parents, and we're all working from home. So during the day, we kind of all do our thing. At night, you know, we've been playing a bit of board games, me and my family. After dinner, we also have 3 dogs. So sometimes we'll go for a walk in the neighborhood with the dogs. But no, like my family is also trying to like come up with projects. So they're like cleaning out, like my parents have like years and years of stuff that they're like cleaning out through. So everyone's kind of doing like their own little projects, but we'll have like, we did like something fun 2 weekends ago where like we pretended like we were all going out for dinner. So everyone got like super nice and dressed up for the first time, because like half of us ever look like nice anymore. But we like made like a really nice fondue dinner. And
Nice.
Like the nice table had like wine, you know, like all these like cute things that you would get in a dinner setting. And then like my mom was pretending like she was like serving us. Like it was really cute.
Aww, that's super cute.
Kind of had like a nice dinner. So it kind of breaks it up a bit than eating in every meal in your pajamas. So sometimes we'll do things like that just to kind of change it up.
Nice.
Yeah, that is one thing I have found, is that I can stay in PJs and sweats all day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I hardly wear jeans anymore.
Yeah.
And when I do, it's like, oh wow, it's like I'm wearing jeans.
I can't. I get sad.
It's hard, but I'm always finding that I'm not as comfortable. As soon as I put these on, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be so productive. Then I sit down and I'm like, nope, sweatpants would be so much comfier right now.
True. You're not wrong.
Which is gonna be kind of crazy when we get back to work. Is there gonna be, because like athleisure was like a big like trend that was happening, you know? So it's like, I wonder if there's gonna be like a casual athletic wear, you know? It's like where you can go in the office with like a sweatpant material tie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's also the risk of people's jeans not fitting them anymore.
Yeah, I know. I've been afraid to put mine on.
That's like me and my mom my mom started working out with me because she was like, my jeans won't button up. Like, I need to work out with you. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, most definitely. My clothes have gotten smaller. I don't know what it is. I think it's the cold water or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely
Better.
that.
definitely.
But
It's definitely the clothes.
yeah.
Shrinking.
But it's crazy because it's like you're stuck at home and it's like, what are you gonna do? Okay, well, I guess I'll eat.
Yes,
Yeah, right. That's
I
hard.
know. And my sister is someone who bakes a lot, so every
Ooh, that's rough.
she's like, "Ooh, like what dessert am I making?" And she's always like, "What dessert do you guys want?" I'm like, "Nothing, because if it's there, I eat it." Like
Oh,
we made 5 pounds of fudge. It's like a sale recipe that we had when we were kids, and we like decided to make it because we were really craving fudge. But it lasts like 3 weeks, and I just keep eating. And I think one fudge is probably a pound.
oh my God.
There's literally so much sugar in it. And I'm like, oh God, like
Oh,
just dangerous.
I would die if Kat was here and she was baking for me nonstop. My
I know.
mom started to, like, she makes bread and stuff sometimes, but like not that frequent. I tried to start baking like cookies and stuff. I'm a terrible bake. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
great cook. I
Mhm.
cannot bake for my life. It's because it has to be so exact.
It's like
Yeah.
baking is a science, cooking is an
Yeah, and I'm
art.
like, I don't
Exactly.
have time. Like, just throw
Yeah.
everything in a bowl, mix it up. There you go.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Cooking, I find like I like it because I feel like I know enough recipes that I can just do it without having to really care. And if you add a little bit more of an ingredient, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, I'm baking, I just don't have like the patience for it. And I like everything I've ever baked has not turned out good. So now I'm just like shot. Like I'm like, well, I tried, but I'm not a baker.
Yeah, same. I gave up.
Yeah, I made a pound cake the other day, and they call it a pound cake because it's like a pound of butter and a pound of sugar. So that's how delicious it is. Yeah, and it turns out that I'm not a bad baker, but I'm working now on because now that I mean school is over for me, so now it's like, oh, what do I do? So I'm starting my hand at sourdough. Apparently,
Oh,
you have to have like a batch, and it has to keep going.
yeah.
You know, so I'm starting that tomorrow. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients and start that up, and it's like it takes 7 days for the starter to go, and then you can start making cake bread with it.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like it'd be delicious.
I know. There's one thing that I've tried too. I've bought like I ordered these off Amazon, but they're like cocktail glasses. And I've been really big with cocktails recently because I usually work as a server, bartender on the side, and it's closed now. I work at a golf course nearby, and this is like our busy season. And I was like all excited because I had all these new drinks, but now I can't make them there. So I've been trying to make them at home, like all these like different ingredients, and I'm always like trying things and like making my family try them, and they're like, try a different one. Or like some are really good, but then some are pretty weird tasting. But it's just fun to like mix those things together. I don't know, I like
But
them.
now's a good time to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and you have a perfect audience to test it out on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
So coming up with projects that I probably never would have done if this didn't happen.
Same.
No,
Trying
exactly.
to learn French, guys.
Oh yeah.
Going great.
How's that going?
Je
Duolingo?
m'appelle Elle.
Je m'appelle Elle. Bonjour. I was doing Duolingo, but Val knows this, but it was teaching me the weirdest things. Like it was teaching me how to say like, I am a cat, or a woman is eating an orange. And I was just like, I feel like I'm not going to say this very often. So I actually paid for Rosetta Stone. And it's been really good. I can't really say anything, but I can like understand words better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if someone's speaking in French, I can like kind of understand the premise of what they're saying. I just couldn't respond to them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll put on like music, like French music or a French movie.
Yeah.
And I can kind of understand because like I speak Spanish, so some things are similar, not everything, but there are some similarities and I can pick up on words. And if I'm able to get a word or two, then I can, for the most part, get like the whole sentence or, you know, the gist of what somebody's trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed that too with Spanish. I've tried to learn a few times, but I was doing the same like Duolingo, and I find like I know a lot of like random things. Like when I'm traveling, I can say like el baño for the bathroom, or like,
Yes.
yeah, and like, like aeroporte, like the
Yeah.
airport, but like, it's just, I can't full on have a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
So
That's how it is
I'm
with
not that way.
French.
Yeah, I'm a lot better with Spanish. So I actually was trying to learn that first, but then I kind of had like a self-reflection and was like, if I'm gonna stay living in Canada, I should probably learn French first. Especially like job wise, like the industry that I'm in. I'm like, a lot of places would
Anywhere you want to go, for sure.
so
You speak
Yeah.
French, Val?
I do. And that's one of the things at Ottawa U that was like really necessary for my job, and something that reminded me that I need to work on my French spelling.
yeah.
I get perfectly fine, but every time I have to send an email in French, I always have to like double check online to see if I'm spelling things properly and if my, my structure, my sentence is good. But yeah.
Does Grammarly not do French or just does English?
It can do French, but I have it set to English right now just to make because I still make a lot of mistakes in English, so I have to fix that. But there's a couple different sites that I use online, like Reverso, for French sometimes, just to double check things. But yeah, that was definitely another thing that I was like, oh man, like it's been so long since I've actually like done things in French, because 5 years of school, that was never a part of it, and then it just all came back. So, but it's like as soon as I'm working in it, like it all starts to come back.
What's the importance of French in Ottawa? Because I will be moving to Ottawa in a few months, and I don't know any French.
Well, it depends where you go. Obviously everyone speaks English here. So, but a lot of jobs require sometimes bilingual, especially in the government. That's a huge plus.
Yeah.
Anything that deals with like international, really. And then University of Ottawa, any job that you usually apply for there requires being bilingual, because it is a bilingual institute and you have to be able to communicate in both languages.
If I put on my resume, I'm bilingual, like, will they ask me specifically for French? Because technically I am bilingual.
It depends. Yeah, it always depends where you apply. But I know, that Spanish might be a plus for some companies, especially if they're doing international. But yeah, it just depends. I know government is mostly French, though.
They'll test you on it.
Yeah, they'll send you a nice little test, and then they'll see how you're doing.
Yeah, it's like that. So just refresh Duolingo the night before and be all good.
Yeah.
Look up like answers in French to interview questions.
Yeah, that was the first time I had an interview for a job that was bilingual, and it was really strange. It's like someone will ask you, it's like those behavior type questions. So someone will ask it to you in English and you have to respond in French.
Oh, wow.
Opposite. So someone will say the question in French and you have to like respond in English.
So, oh, wow.
You think twice, or like, and I find too, like I express myself so much better in English than I do in French. So sometimes I remember like they would ask like a specific question and I'm like, man, if this question was in English, I feel like I could use all these nice words, but now that it's like so basic.
Well, I think that's like until you get like a better like grasp, I guess, or more use out of the French, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we'll start wrapping it up a little bit, but I want us to all go around and just say what the first thing we're going to do when we're out of quarantine is.
Ooh, do you want to start, Elle?
Okay, yeah, so I have so many things, but like first thing, I think I want to get my Invisaligns off because they were supposed to come off like 2 weeks like after the quarantine started, so I just still have them on my face. And then I would want to like plan a trip either to like Ottawa or Toronto or something like that.
Yeah, and like see friends.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, someone else's turn.
Okay. Yeah, Val, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, it's so hard. I feel like there are so many things I want to do. The first thing, I need my hair done, like my roots are coming in and stuff. So, I feel like I would want to just go out with everybody. Like I just want to go, and I'm hoping that by the time we're out, it'll be like patio season, which I love, and we could just all go sit and kind of like catch up with everybody and actually see and be able to like hug my friends and, you know, just get out of being at home. So that's kind of the first thing I want to do is kind of set that up. And then, yeah, I think that would be, you know, and then get my hair done.
Yeah. I can't wait.
That's definitely the first thing I'm doing is I'm gonna go get my hair did. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get a nice hot shave because you know, and maybe a tattoo or something. You know, like definitely go to like a bar or restaurant, something where there's a lot of people. You know, and also like my hair, like it's rough.
What I can already tell, like by the time this is over, I'm gonna need such good touch-ups.
Oh, same. Like, because I had like the red, I got like red tone all over my head. So I already have like, it was like already lighter at my roots because it was my bare hair that got the red. So it was like a line of red. And then I have like my dark hair coming back. So it's like lines.
Yeah.
God that you can't see it. I'm just like, I was just like, oh, it's so bad. Like my parents always like laugh about it. I was just like, I know.
So Val, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you even about Ottawa or just be your friends?
Yeah, so really any social media, like Instagram is really good, or even LinkedIn if it's like about jobs or you know, if anyone's interested in opportunities in Ottawa, you know, I might be able to connect them with the people from the department. So LinkedIn and probably Instagram would be the best for me.
And what are those handles?
Oh man, okay.
I can link your Insta or your LinkedIn. I can link your LinkedIn in the bio.
Yes, and then Instagram, I think it's just Valerie Boudier 7.
Okay, I'll link that too.
I think. I don't know. I don't even know my own LinkedIn, my own handle, but something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. They'll be in the bio.
Exactly.
Awesome. And then Danny, what about you?
At no middle name 13. You can find me, follow me there. Instagram.
Perfect.
I don't have a LinkedIn. I think I have one, but I'm not.
No.
I don't know how LinkedIn works.
And then people can find me at L Isadora on Instagram. I mean, you can connect with me on LinkedIn too. I don't usually plug that, but it's smart, Val. And then also make sure to follow the podcast, SA Voice Podcast. Follow the Student Association at SA_SLC. So we're constantly putting updates and fun activities. We're going to have some virtual events on there too. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you both so much for coming.
Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Val.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.